everybody. Welcome to the Green Architects Lounge podcast. I'm your host, Chris Briley.
And I'm your host, Phil Kaplan. What do you about this, Chris? We're being pretty consistent here.
Yeah,
huh?
we're nothing. There hasn't been a pandemic to throw us off this time.
We have no excuses.
We have no excuses. Our kids are older. There's not like the frenzied chaos. There's still chaos, but it's a bit more managed, and we're a little bit more focused. Good for us. Hooray. High five. You know what? That deserves a toast. To us, keeping it going.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Have a sip.
Yeah.
So today we are drinking a cocktail called the Blood and Sand,
which I have never had. There's some things going on here. I was just totally trusting Phil. Let's just put it out there. This is Phil's cocktail. It's very good.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, right?
Let
me tell you a little bit about the Blood and Sand. So this is a classic cocktail. This is like from the 1930s. And the name comes from a Rudolph Valentino movie about bullfighting.
Ah, hence the Blood and Sand.
Blood and Sand.
Ah,
right?
okay.
It sounds very noble.
Because I was going to say, man, why did you choose? Because you know how you were like choosing cocktails based on themes. And you're like, we're done with that.
Yeah,
and now we're like, Blood and Sand. I'm like, wow, okay, good.
Sounds like something. It's not anything.
Okay.
It's a movie.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool because it's an equal parts cocktail. So it's 3/4 of an ounce orange juice.
Orange. Yep.
Scotch. So this one I'm using a Glenlivet, which is a really nice kind of standard single malt Scotch.
Right.
They're a little fancier, but they're also strong and a little peaty depending on which one you use.
Right.
This is not like a Lagavulin. This is kind of middle peaty.
Oh, I like the Glenlivet.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Just fine by itself.
Mm-hmm. So 3/4 ounce of that.
Right. And Phil, I mean, I was saying to you, there's not that many Scotch cocktails. It's just not an ingredient that's usually mixed.
No.
For reasons that are that's usually a very peaty, or depending on the Scotch that you have, it's kind of a
right. It's like eating rubber and getting an ashtray dumped in your mouth a little bit sometimes. So
wow, I wouldn't have gone that far, but okay, sure, yeah, in a nice way.
It sounds kind of nice to me.
Oh,
but to beat it back, you use orange juice. So it's really rare to have orange juice in a cocktail, right? We usually think of lime or lemon most of the time, or grapefruit.
Yeah.
Just because orange is usually really kind of sweet.
Yeah, unless you're doing a screwdriver because you're 12. No, I don't know. I'm not 12. What am I saying?
Don't drink when you're 12. But we've just learned a little bit about Chris's history.
No, actually, no. I was a good kid. Mom, I was a good kid. I didn't do that. But anyway.
Right. The orange juice kind of beats back the peatiness of the Scotch. They handle each other.
Yeah.
They're like, you two take each other. And the cherry liqueur, cherry hearing, is it the cherry liqueur?
Yeah.
I'm going to dip one of these here.
Yeah, that's good.
Like that.
Yeah.
It's a sweet cherry liqueur, but it's actually cherry brandy.
Right.
So try not to substitute for that one. It's kind of a big part of the cocktail as well. And then a 3/4 of an ounce of sweet vermouth. So here I'm doing something a little different just because I like to be fancy.
Yeah, and I wonder.
It's called an herbarista, and it's fortified wine. And there's a bunch of different fortified wines that you can get, like Pasubio and Cardamaro, and there's a number of names of fortified wines that are a little different than sweet vermouths, and they're in the same world. They just have they tend to be a little less sweet, and I went with something slightly less sweet than the sweet vermouth.
That one's delicious. Where'd you get that?
It's kind of yummy. A little place in town that sells vermouths.
Really?
Yeah.
You're not going to tell me?
I can't remember the name.
Oh, well.
It's on Washington Ave. What's that? Maine and Loire. They have excellent wines, but none of you guys know that because when you come to
Maine, we come to buy us drinks,
you want some kick-ass vermouths, go there. Anyway, Blood and Sand, equal parts cocktail.
Cheers.
Fun to drink and good to start us off on our topic today, which is called greening your specs. So Chris and I had this conversation, should we call it greening your specs?
Because we're the Green Architects Lounge, but in our defense, we named that in 2010. Okay,
green was cool then.
Green was cutting edge or whatever, and now it's you're green.
But it's really like tuning your specs.
Exactly.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's what we almost named it. Yeah. Tuning, and we're like, now let's go. You know what? We're just gonna say, we're the Green Architects Lounge. We're just gonna own it. What we're doing is tweaking the specs, staying up to date, staying current, so that your specs reflect your mission of designing a high-performance, sustainable, energy-efficient house You have tools at your disposal as an architect. Your construction documents, as you know, consist of construction drawings. Everyone pictures that. Everyone knows that. Builders are, used to seeing that, using that, whatever. But then you also have this project manual, sometimes called specifications.
That's right. And so what it is basically kind of pages of words based on certain divisions that architects many years ago have decided we were going to separate parts of the building into, mostly the materials of the building. We have something called divisions.
Right.
Used to be 16 divisions.
Yep.
And I still sort of think of it as 16
I still
divisions.
do too, because we are
Now
old-timers. Yeah.
That's right. But now it's 50 divisions. Like most of them are like saved for later. Somebody just decided it was a nice round number.
Right.
But we're going to go through the divisions that we're not going to go through all 50 because we're talking about residential architecture here, and we only use a handful of those. So we use about 16. Turns out.
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
And really, we're talking about something called outline specifications. So you hear that, or you'll hear.
Thank you.
Project manual for residential. We're not going to do. We've both done commercial specifications, and they are
big ass. Oh, we both did this at the same time.
They're like this big, and
so I would say our specifications are for a residential are about 16 pages or so.
Yeah, 16, 18, 12, depending on
the
font
size, the scale of the
But
that's it.
Our font size.
Yeah. But these become a critical part of the contract documents. So one of the reasons we use these are partially for ease and partially for how do I want to say this? CYA, right?
Yeah. Well, as my professional practice, J. Bob Taylor would have said, your number one job as an architect is to protect the client. But that's a lie. That's what you tell everybody else. Your number one job is to protect yourself. Specs,
that's right,
do both.
Yeah.
You're protecting the client, you're protecting, because inevitably it is one of the documents that you're using as contract documents. So like what's in your drawings, what's in your specs, your client owns that in the contract with the builder. In essence, the owner's saying, this is what I'd like to build. What will you, when and how much will it cost to build this that is described?
That's right.
And so if it's in the specs, if it's in the drawings, technically you own it. But in the real world of residential construction, when everyone's a team and they're brought on, things get a little squishy and all that. So it's great to have documents that really are clear.
That's right. For instance, Chris.
Yes.
Here's our specs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right.
Specs for our drink. That's very good.
That's right.
Yeah.
We list the amount and the kind. And if we want to go a little further, we list Scotch whiskey. We were going to say we'd like to use Glenlivet 12, for instance.
Glenlivet 12, right.
Yeah, this is where we find this information. And this is important because say, hey, Chris, you said Glenlivet in the specs, but I'm at the store and they're out of Glenlivet. Can I use Glenmorangie, for instance?
Maybe.
Unless if it says no substitutions in your specification, you can't do
I will allow it, but if you reach for the Lefroy,
then no.
Then no.
But this is also important because if your drawings, you write everywhere, Glenlivet here, Glenlivet in this drink, and they're out of Glenlivet, you have to change it in every place in your drawings. But if you only list it once in your specifications and everywhere in your drawings you say Scotch, you only have to change it once.
Right. I'm gonna quote the great Lori Rohr, who worked.
Is that a real name?
Yes.
Spell that for me.
R-O-H-R, or maybe the H is
Lori Rohr.
Lori Rohr. She worked at TFH Architects with me back in the day with Scott Tees, and she's the one who I heard it from. I'm sure she's not the first to say it, but I'm giving her credit. She was very good and meticulous. But you say it once, you say it correctly, and you say it in the right place. And so that is a great rule for specs and great rule for drawings. And anyway, and the reason why we care about this so much and the reason why it's on the podcast, Green Architects Lounge, is because you're kind of protecting the integrity of the building by having a document that says what products you're using, how they get installed, and are you allowed to substitute? And if so, what is that process and procedure?
That's right. There's a lot in green building.
Yeah.
And when you build sustainably, And we get into specific things like levels of permeability or the pack that we want in a dense packed cellulose. And those are the kind of things that go into specifications that are fairly technical. So this is the place for them.
All right. What we're going to do is take a quick break. We're going to let our sponsors chime in, and we thank them very much. And of course, our sponsors are people who are like us. We do not just let anyone sponsor the Green Architects Lounge podcast. They are building science advocates, and they are they're just great people.
They're good people, and we use their products, and so we want to give them some airtime.
And so listen to them, because it might actually be very educational. You'll learn about products you could use, and then come back and we'll get started, and we're just going to go through the specs.
Hello, fellow building science enthusiasts. My name's Nikki Kruger, and we're going to discuss the BS of dedicated moisture control. Now, there are a lot of factors that can contribute to high humidity in a home. Tight buildings, leaky buildings, construction drying, the materials that are put in the building, not enough AC runtime in order to control the moisture, the mechanical ventilation strategy, really energy efficient HVAC equipment, high dew points outside, and people are the wild card. You never know how much moisture they're going to generate or how they're going to control that HVAC system. So the goal of every high performance, energy efficient building standard program is to build a really tight envelope to reduce the amount of runtime on the HVAC system in order to save energy, which can be problematic when we're counting on runtime of that HVAC system in order to control the moisture in that building. Now, the need for dehumidification is significant for health and comfort of the occupants, for protecting our personal belongings from high moisture, and also the structure of the home. And there's a lot of organizations out there that have recommended humidity levels for our health and comfort. The American Medical Association, American Lung, and the EPA, less than 50% relative humidity. ASHRAE is less than 60% relative humidity. And Building Science Corp in the spring, summer, and fall is less than 60%. Now, a whole house ventilating dehumidifier can integrate with the HVAC system in order to bring on outdoor air for ventilation. It can filter all the air going through the dehumidifier with a MERV 13 filter. And this dedicated dehumidifier is going to control the relative humidity in the home regardless of the air conditioning runtime. Now, we also need to think about what's going on below our homes. So if you have a crawl space or a basement, up to 50% of the air in your living space can come from those spaces. So controlling the moisture down there is also really important. Now at Santa Fe, we have an industry-leading 6-year peace of mind warranty that includes a 5-year full replacement plus 1-year parts. For more information about Santa Fe products, you can visit www.santafeproducts.com.
Moving on. All right.
So let's start with category number 1, general requirements.
Right.
What the hell is that, Chris?
Well, I'll tell you, it sounds boring, Phil.
Doesn't
I'm really bored. Just starting saying general requirements.
But it's kind of one of the most important sections.
Yes, it is. So like you can divide your building into all these different divisions, but there's stuff that doesn't fit in a division because it's sort of like across the whole project. So like temporary heat, the dumpster, the porta potty. These are sort of things that are they seem trivial.
What else is on that list?
General conditions?
Yeah.
Like procedures for how do you handle change orders? How do you handle substitutions? How do you handle allowances? Things of that nature.
Yeah.
What you feel? I feel like you want to say. There's.
There's certain things that I'm also looking at a cheat sheet here.
We both are, because this is specs. It's very detailed.
Yeah,
we're gonna.
Airtightness metrics, you put those here? I think we do as well.
Yeah. All your goals. In fact, this is also
how many times you test through and when you test.
That's right. How many times do you guys test?
We say 3, but it depends on the builder. We're not as rigorous now. We work with some really good builders. Hopefully some of you guys are listening right now. And we don't do 3 anymore. We'll do 2, and sometimes we'll just do 1 when we know people are nailing it.
Yeah, we do 2. Because the shell test, you want to test at the shell, which is when the finishes are not on, and even the installation's probably not in, and you have access to everything. So like the windows have been installed, they're taped, they're sealed, your mechanical system's probably not installed, and so you don't have all these different penetrations. But now's a great time to do the test. You do the test.
Because you can access everything.
You can access everything. You can see the leaks. You can fix the leaks. And you can really tighten things up. And that'll probably be your best number for the whole project.
Because what happens next is that people start cutting holes into it.
That's right.
Start putting the conduit through the walls.
That's right.
And we've more nails and siding and all this stuff.
We covered that in the Don't Be an Airhole podcast about the importance of air sealing. Definitely give that a listen. But yeah, and you also have a chance to explain what you are doing with this project, what its mission is, and the goals you want to reach. If you're trying to be net zero, here's where you state it, and the critical things that you need to do to make that happen.
Can I add one more thing for general requirements? Local material preference.
Yes.
I think that's a very interesting one because I'll tell you, some of these things are leftovers, sort of hangovers from when we were trying to do LEED for homes. Mm-hmm. And all for LEED, I'm sure it's still a great metric. We just kind of incorporated a lot of those stuff in our things in our specs. But I worry sometimes that we've lost our rigor once you something had something in a spec that we don't follow up with it a lot. So the local material preferences, you remember the radius that we usually put in spec?
500
miles. Yeah. That was it. That was for LEED for homes. And I here we are in Maine. We get some good wood from Canada and around New England. We do pretty well with that. Mm-hmm. But I also think we're kind of lazy for a number of things. Like I think it takes getting on the phone and calling to see if you have a supplier for the wood or the shingle that you're actually calling for your specs. Like, go ahead. It just takes a little research. Like, take the time.
Yeah. And that's especially for lumber materials. I mean, I think if you can get local stuff, it's just so much better. But you can, in the general conditions, state your preference for local materials and even recycled content, things like that. If you want. One thing that we also put in our general requirements is asking for EPDs of products when and where they're available. Environmental declarations,
declarations.
Environmental product declarations. Hello, blood and sand. Anyway, sorry, awkward pause to the audio listeners. And I just took a drink. So, no, because like we are stating our embodied carbon goals, like we are trying to reduce carbon. You get to actually have a little narrative in that in your project manual in the beginning. And therefore, when you are making substitutions, you are also being asked to provide EPDs if that product has them. Another thing that's in our general requirements is toxicity. Like we will just like you were talking about LEED. Yeah. LBC, Living Building Challenge. That got us really in tune to the red list materials, the materials that are toxic, and same with LEED and LBC or. We have that same list of accessible VOCs for all the different products and stuff. So, of course...
And you put that in your general conditions?
Yeah.
Okay, because...
Yeah.
We put some of that in...
at each product. Yeah, and we do too, but we have here's the list. Yeah. Here's the stuff. There's no reason why you can't have that because, like, if someone... And the reason why is because if something's happening that's not in your specs or your drawings... Someone just wants to glue that little thing over there. I'm just going to grab the stuff from my truck and go, bap, bap. I'm going to just, but if you just do something super toxic and smelly, and then we could be working for a client who's super sensitive. And so.
Well, I'll tell you why I really like the way you do it, Chris. Yeah. Because it lets people know that you're serious, right?
Yeah.
You just load this stuff right up front in the general conditions. Like, here's the stuff we care about. Okay. We'll get to those materials and what kind of wood the siding is in a minute, but here's the stuff that's really important to us. Here's who we are. So when you sit down and you have your project kick off and your page turn with your builder, you talk about that stuff before you get tired.
Right.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah. And this is also, so like the builder's looking for that. He's not expecting that typically when he's, or she, sorry, I got to watch my pronouns here.
Yes, you do.
Because we are working with female contractors out there like crazy, so
outstanding ones.
Which is great. Yeah, and they are
so good.
Where was I? Yes,
general conditions.
So like
general requirements.
So like that builder is probably not looking for all this stuff that we just mentioned. They want to just go right into it's almost like an ingredients list for the whole building. Like, what am I ordering?
That's exactly what it is.
You know, what's the stuff am I putting in the cocktail? What am I ordering for this? You want what kind of insulation? You want what kind of sheetrock? What kind of finishes, adhesives, membranes, whatever? It's going to be in the spec. But other stuff, which is in general conditions, like and this one's important in ours, where we put this as the temporary heat. How many times, Phil, have you been? So we're in climate zone 6. It's inevitable that we're building through the winter. We're building through the fall. It's cold. And you need an environment that's warm for a lot of your products to cure properly and fasten and all that jazz. So, how many times have you walked into a job site and you've seen one of those torpedo heaters or those salamander
7.
heaters?
Was that a trick?
Yeah, it was a trick.
Yeah,
I didn't
7.
think you'd have a specific number. Well, those 7 those 7 projects, Phil. And builders who are listening to me, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Architects who have been on site a lot, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Owners may not know about this, but you'll see these big jet looking these big jet looking
salamanders.
Salamanders, and basically they're either hooked up to propane or they're hooked up to kerosene, or I think torpedoes technically are hooked up to kerosene and salamanders are propane or whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is that is a lot of carbon monoxide. You're just jetting into your building. Yeah. It is also a lot of moisture. Like, that is a liquid that you're igniting, pumping into your house when it's freezing cold. What are you doing, Phil? You are raising the humidity and the moisture content of all the pieces in your house. This is verboten. We are not doing this anymore. And I say that.
That's good.
Well, I say that, and it's in the specs, and it'll show up on site.
It's still there.
And it's still there.
Because what else are they going to do? You have to give them an alternative
exactly.
way to do it.
Well, I'll tell you what else. So just good old-fashioned electric heat.
Plug-in electric heaters.
Plug-in electric heaters. And there's also a remote heating system of some kind where it's basically a boiler or a furnace. It's a furnace where it's ducted. It's just sitting on a cart outside, and the duct goes right into a window, and you just seal around it.
So what makes you feel not so guilty about using your electric heaters to heat your house under construction?
Oh, I'll tell you why.
A little setup.
All right, setup. So we once had a net zero job site.
Yeah.
Which is wild. And it goes like this, that the project was going to have, it didn't have good solar on the house, but out in the field in front of the house, plenty of good solar. So they had a tracking device. We were planning for a tracking solar. Early on in the project, it was like, there's no reason why we couldn't get that going early. Let's do it. And so we had a solar tracker out there generating electricity while they're working on the house. So temporary power is kind of right there. I mean, it was grid tied, but it was really neat.
That's fantastic.
Net zero job site. I mean, we're not putting it in our spec saying have a net zero job site, but you could if you knew that you had the same kind of condition happening. So that's fun.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we move on?
Yeah, let's move on. That feels like good for...
that was section number 1. So
section number 1, general conditions. Number 2.
Talk about site.
And really, in our site construction, we've got, and in our specs, we have a lot of language about salvaging and reusing for any kind of demolition. This is where a lot of demolition stuff goes if you're doing a renovation, because you're dealing with the existing condition and site work and all that. That's really my big thing in our projects. There is in Maine, there's the Maine Builders Exchange. They're great. If you're going to demo a thing, builders, you know what you want to do. You just want to go and just, demo, get it out of there so you can start your project.
But we find that Habitat for Humanity will come out. We have a thing here called the Restore, and I'd be surprised if other places. If Maine has it, everybody has it. Yeah,
but the Maine Builders Exchange, they will come and they will go through your house or your project and be like, yeah, doors, we want them. Sink, we want them. Hinges, and sometimes it's weird stuff. And they take it and then they write your receipt. Here, you can use this as your tax donation. We're going to take this to our to either restore their own place, whatever, and builders can buy it at, just pennies.
I love it. I have to tell you, we haven't used them. I need their number.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
We use the
after
others.
this. Yeah, well, yeah, it's all
Great.
it's very similar.
Yeah.
But these guys will actually go in and get it because that is the hard part. Because builders just want to get going with their project and not negotiate. How much for this sink? I don't know. Get rid of it. They want to get it out. So anyway,
well, one of the other things that we put under site is radon. And this is not necessarily where it goes, but basically we have to watch out for radon here in Maine. And radon piping goes sub-slab.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to alert the contractor at this point, while we're doing the excavation, while we're doing that work, and not shell it all the way down into plumbing, because even though that's the person who puts the PVC pipes together that actually suck the radon up through subgrade.
Yeah.
So we put it here under site.
Yeah. We put it in plumbing, and then we have a note in site and in concrete.
Yeah.
C division 26 for radon, whatever. So it's that say it once, say it in the right place attitude. Yeah. But where you want to catch it you can catch it as often you can and say, see this subject where it's supposed to be in plumbing, because it is plumbing.
It is.
There you go.
All right, that's two. That's
I don't know. I don't have anything.
We don't go deep with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Concrete. You want to do concrete?
Yeah, concrete's more interesting.
Yeah, division 3.
Yeah.
So I got a story for this one.
I'd love to hear it.
Okay, so
I love your stories.
yeah, well, this one's pretty good.
That's why I'm here.
It's very recent. I'm on a job site and it's really great. We're at the phase where there's footings and they're poured. I see a couple of interesting things. The rebar. This is a side thing. I'm gonna watch myself. So many tangents. I'm gonna stick with this. So I'm looking at footings, right? And I say to Alex, who's with me, and I'm like, this is a great moment to ask the builder if he's remembering to do a capillary break on top of the footings. And so because it's an often overlooked thing.
Oh yeah.
Because you have it. You may have it in your drawings, but you also have in your specs what to use because you want to pick some kind of product. And I texted him and I said, things look great. Just making sure you're not forgetting about the capillary break and everything's all good. And he, not saying, oh, I did forget about it. He's like, oh, what do you want to use for that? And I said, it's probably in the specs somewhere. I'll check in the morning when I get to, so anyway, long story short, I'm sure it's being put on now. So it's a good thing to have in the specs. It's a good thing to remind builders there are specs because, I bet if you just pulled up to a job site and said, hey, did you get the specs about that? No. It's probably like three people who've looked at the specs, when they're pricing it and they've got it, someone's got their head around it and ordering things and otherwise. Anyway, so concrete.
Can I do a quick sidebar Hudzig specs? So I didn't mention it first. Yeah. And then we'll jump into concrete. So builders don't forget about specs. We put the specs when we print them out and put them on a sheet in the drawing set.
Oh, wow.
Instead of a little packet on the side.
The whole spec?
We sometimes we'll change the font size to get it on there.
Wow.
But at least we have it there and we can reference it if we're on site. And that way it's just always part of the set. So it's not this 8.5 by 11 packet that they toss aside.
Cool. I will say this, when I was Green Design Studio, way back when, all by myself, I just got, because I just put all my specs on my drawings and everything was brand name and it had instructions and it had stuff on the side, kind of like you said, and I wasn't doing specifications. But as you grow, and maybe you're okay if you're like a one-man show like I was, doing that and had a close relationship with a builder doing that. The more people you have involved and the more scattered something can get, the more important it is to have, it's all consolidated somewhere.
Right. Right. The problem with that is if you do that, you can't just you have to put it on that drawing and you have to cloud it just like a typical drawing.
Right.
But at least it's always there with stuff.
Right.
All right. Concrete.
Bring
us back.
So you can have a massive effect as an architect by specifying cement replacements in your concrete mix, and get used to the word pozzolans, because that's how the concrete mix guys talk about it.
Right.
So we have some language in our specs to request, where the builder is required to request, low carbon mixes from their concrete plant, wherever you're getting your concrete from, because you may not even know this as a builder or an architect, that these concrete plants have all kinds of recipes for different weather, different conditions, different hydrations, different fly ash.
Right. They'll throw an
different
admix into something, for instance, if it's really cold weather.
Right.
Or something that you might want a longer cure time. So
Yes.
they'll slow down the cure, for instance.
And a lot of times they're doing it without you even knowing it or even asking for
Right.
it. Like, what's the temperature today? Yeah, I'm not sending out this mix this guy's asked for. I'm sending out this mix that is going to actually work in,
Right.
30-degree temperature or whatever. So they may have at their disposal cement replacements that they can, add and change that mix. And it could be just a phone call and almost no price change, and you have lower embodied carbon in your concrete mix because
That's right.
someone cared to call and ask for it, which
Yeah.
is amazing. So
It used to be slag or fly ash that we always
Yeah.
called for with a certain percentage. And
Yeah.
I can't remember what that percentage is offhand. I can't
Uh,
remember. But we need another podcast specifically on concrete, I'm going to say.
oh, okay. Well, we've kind of done foundations and kind of
We did
this.
kinda
and
do that.
All right. Well, but we will eventually,
Tell you what,
Yeah.
or embodied carbon or something. We'll find a way.
Yeah,
We'll find a way to
another
get
one.
more detail. Right now, we're going to keep going.
Right. And there's also, we've mentioned this before, but there's carbon cure. That's a method of entraining CO2 into your concrete.
Right.
And
It's
there's
a
also-
wonderful idea. It's not real yet.
Right. Both of these that I'm saying. And then
Yeah.
there's sublime lime, which is a different whole chemistry. We covered that in basements thing. But
Right.
you can put it in your specs if you know you can get it. But otherwise, you're looking at cement replacements and pozzolans. And then, of course, this is the place where you can talk about your desire to reduce concrete. And you can talk about, because you also have piers that are probably happening in decks and posts and things
Mhm.
like that.
And we talked a little bit this in our foundations one too. You know,
Yeah.
how to get less concrete and
Right.
having frost protected slabs.
Right. And you can do
So the beautiful myth of helical piers.
Yeah, they're, they are less embodied carbon than a precast concrete pier.
Oh, yeah.
but not that much.
And you
Like,
can't use them everywhere.
you can't use them everywhere,
Yeah.
especially here in Maine, where
We got a lot of roots in the ground.
a lot of rocks and
Yeah.
stuff, and just like we're not homogeneous.
No.
No.
I love the idea.
Yeah, but anyway,
That belongs in section 3.
yeah. Here's a fun one. Section 4, masonry.
Mhm.
This is going to be a short one, I think. But
Right.
so, like we just say, avoid CMU if you can. I don't think residentially we use it a lot. I think about if this is a national podcast, which it is. I think about someone in Florida hearing that. I'm saying, "Don't use CMU," and they'd be like,
What else are we going to build with?
What else are we going to do?"
Yeah, they use the aerated blocks. What are those called?
The
You know what I'm
aerated
talking
concrete.
about.
I
aerated
do.
Concrete.
Yeah. But here in Maine, I'm going to give a shout out to Genest Concrete
Mm-hmm.
because they have, if you
Chris and his crew.
Chris Genest,
Yeah.
cool guy.
Good guy.
He's
Yeah, didn't you design something for him?
yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can go to their new showroom, look at all their products and
Nice.
stuff, and yeah, it's great. But they've got this new G Mix, amongst other new products and stuff like that. But they have the G Mix, which is 55% less cement than your regular concrete block.
That's cool. How do they do that?
A lot of cement replacements, like I said.
Yeah,
for
fly ash and pozzolans,
fly
yeah.
ash and silica flume, and and they have a lot of recycled. Actually, how much recycled content? I think I wrote in my notes. No, I didn't. And a high recycled content because they have a lot of powdered recycled glass in it that gets entrained into the whole concrete block. So
Very cool.
if you're doing a concrete block and you want to be more sustainable, more energy efficient, and lower carbon footprint, talk to our friends at Genest. So, and I'm sure there's something similar in your part of the woods that you could access and use. So,
I've
but
got nothing more to add on masonry.
no, I guess not. Natural stone.
Yeah, we're using we're cladding an entire house in natural stone right now.
Yep.
You know, we're sourcing it locally. You can get it. It's great.
Yeah. You want to switch to metals? Also a quick one for us.
Also a quick one. Don't do them.
Yeah. Try not to. Try. So we're kind of being flippant about this, but in your metals, section here, that's usually your structural and ornamental steel pieces. So
That's
like
right.
for us, it's like sometimes you've got some fancy stairs. Sometimes you got some real structural steel that's holding up, significant parts of your house.
I will say when we have structural steel in our specifications, we always refer to the structural drawings that they take precedent.
Exactly.
Because we don't want to get into the specifics of steel and the mix that goes into it. We let the structural engineers handle it.
Yeah. What you don't want to do is contradict, something somewhere else if you've got your structural engineers giving you specs to put in here, or they have them on their drawings, you don't want to be default to what they're
right. Structural engineering drawings and specifications to take precedence.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Say it once, say it in the right place.
Sure.
Say it correctly. So now we're going to get into the bigger one, Division 6, wood and rough carpentry. Okay.
Yeah, I would say 6 and 7 are probably our biggest two sections.
Yeah, and maybe 9 finishes where we will hang out for quite a bit.
That goes on and on.
Yeah. So with wood, let's see, where should we? I'm going to start with toxicity, Phil.
Okay.
That's where I've got my notes. So a wonderful thing happened, I think in 2017, but became enacted in 2019, was the TSCA, the Title 6 stuff. And that is basically, you remember CARB.
Yes.
CARB from California.
California Air Resources Board. I wrote that down.
Okay, yeah. So California, sort of
the CARB compliance.
Yeah, sort of the pioneer in all the liberal stuff, and of course, and the rules of processes and all that jazz. But they're CARB was the first one to start. California statewide was like regulating toxicity of formaldehyde amongst other VOCs, outputting chemicals into your products, because prior to this, everybody, like, I liken it to like the pink sugar package replacements in your,
like Sweet and Low,
like things that had aspartame. They had like I remember like sitting in a restaurant as a kid, just like looking at these packages and reading on it. It causes cancer. Like it has. There's like a warning on. I'm like, what? I'm not going to swear, but mentally, I'm like, what the hell is this doing on a table for people to use? And like, it was shocking to me. Take that, multiply it times 100. That is the building industry. It is shocking what they would just allow you to make and go like, hey, look, it's waterproof. Great. Shove it in the house. Shove it in your, and it's stain resistant. And it's in there and it's outgassing.
Make that sound again.
I don't know if I can. Yeah. And it's just outgassing. And so like we take our role. I know you do too. Yeah. Our role in being sort of the guardians of the health of our clients from these products that are numerous and will find their way, because the industry does not care about your health at all.
No.
So
we speak the same language. I think it's one of the things that's going to come out in the future. One of the things that's causing illness in a lot of people is the toxicity that we allow in our houses. Yeah. And it's crazy that we don't look at this more closely.
Yeah, especially these older houses. We've been building for a long time. As long as humans have been around, we've been building. But what I'm saying is like, so in 2017, you had the TSCA, Title 6 compliant, which is basically they took CARB, and nationally we're like, the EPA is like, that's a great idea. Yep. We're doing it. And then of course, CARB was there. Then California's like, oh yeah, well, we're going to do this NAF thing, this no added formaldehyde, which is fading away. So I'm not going to get into that. But what I'm saying is Title 6, the TSCA, which stands for Toxic Substances Control Act of 2017, came into existence and has changed the marketplace. It's made it so that if you buy a OSB, even the crappy OSB, it used to be that stuff would kill you. I mean, it would kill you. It was the whole, the FEMA trailers. You remember Hurricane Katrina? And like after that, there's just like hundreds of people in the brand new FEMA trailers cooking in the sun, and they just all had health issues, just like all of them. So it was because of a building product that we're all building with and building our houses with and putting it. Anyway, so hey, bringing it back to the specs. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you can, in your specs under the wood, say, all products must be Title VI compliant, because there's still some rattling around there, or things that haven't, that don't need to meet Title VI, whatever. So, and we're talking about composite woods, plywoods, cabinetry, which is in a different division, I know, but well, some people put it in this division, but plywoods, laminates, anything that has an adhesive in it. So MDFs, medium density fiberboard. Sorry, a lot of jargon we got to be careful about while we're doing this.
But there's a lot of jargon and specifications, right? This is like the place for it, actually.
Right.
So one of the other things that I find important is FSC certified woods. Yeah. So if I can get on my soapbox about this for a little bit, okay. So it's a FSC, Forest Stewardship Council. Yeah. Basically certifies the sustainable harvesting of woods. Now, when we've referenced Bruce King in his book New Carbon Architecture. That for me was just a milestone book, a really important book that really shifted in my mind the importance of specifying FSC woods. And I guess we also get it locally here to some extent.
That's true.
So it doesn't need to be FSC certified, but we always start with that in our specifications. And we have the builder price it out because it's the kind of thing that really is going to make our forests more sustainable and really leads to lasting climate resistance or resistance to climate change.
Totally.
If we harvest poorly, it's one of the things that adds carbon to the atmosphere faster than most things. So we really need to do this and put this in our specifications and follow up with this and make sure builders price those and take them seriously instead of saying, it's going to be more expensive.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's our job. It's our job, Chris, because if we don't do it, who's going to do that? It's up to the architects to push these things and to educate our clients. The builder's most builders are not going to seek that out first.
Yeah. Amen, brother.
So
it's a lot like, like an organic food.
Thank you. I was tipping my tongue.
It's like, do you know where your food comes from?
Mm-hmm.
Like, isn't it great to have a CSA where your food, it hasn't been tampered with, it hasn't been synthesized. It's right over there and it's being replenished at a rate that it's being used. Same with your woods, same with your buildings. So you can use wood becomes a carbon solution. It is a carbon sequestering thing. And, they're drawing down carbon from the atmosphere just by being out there. And if you take that, store it in your house, as opposed to, letting it fall or not be replenished at a rate that it's being taken, then now I forgot what I'm saying. If you don't do that, or if you do that, here's the point. If you do FSC certification, you're guaranteeing that it's coming from a sustainable cycle, or if you're finding it out for yourself, local mill from a sustainable forest is just as good in my book.
Right, and you don't have to pay a premium for it. So and when you get your GC to actually do the pricing for you, I think that's often part of the conversation. They'll say, well, if I get my wood from here, it's actually locally milled. It comes from 500 miles away or whatever that metric is, and you can still feel pretty good about it.
Yeah.
But don't be surprised if that FSC upcharge is not as much as you think.
Right. So in Division 6, if I'm just starting to go through this stuff, like sheathing is in there, and this is your chance, in your outline specifications to actually control what's going in your project. You can just say what your sheathing is. Like Advantech, for example, is everywhere. It's in our specs. Huber, the Huber products. When that came out, it's kind of revolutionary how that's changed things. But we actually put, regular OSB. Nope.
No, we don't do that anymore.
Yeah, we say not this.
Yeah, that's pretty
so like
stuff.
Yeah, not only are you allowed to say what you want, you're also to say what you are absolutely not accepting on the job site. So regular OSB is right up there.
One of the things I think it's interesting that you put in our notes is diagonal board sheathing, if you can get it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, yeah.
We've only done that once recently.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but we got it in.
Yeah.
It was really wonderful,
congrats.
romantic notion of that's how they used to do it back in the day.
Yeah.
You go to an old cabin and you lift up the siding.
Not nearly as strong as regular APA rated sheathing. However, what forces are we talking about? They're on a small house with not small expanses and not all glass and all that crap. It's like it works.
And man, if you're trying to get rid of like the glues and any sort of semblance of toxicity, it's wood on wood on wood.
Especially if you got a mill and you have visually graded lumber that you can use for your board sheathing.
Yeah.
High five.
Yeah.
It's great.
Very, very cool.
Very cool. All right. And you can also just specify some carbon-friendly materials. Think about, straw panels. I mean, like we've been pushing for it a lot lately because, we're lucky we've got Croft, and new frameworks nearby. We have another one starting up in Massachusetts as well, like this straw panel revolution of, short cycle, carbon drawing, harvesting of, straw. It's great.
Remember we had a little challenge to each other that we were going to try to get a straw building in.
Yeah. Have you done it?
It came really close. It got through DD.
Yeah.
And the clients decided
we got ours.
To not build the new house, but to renovate the old existing instead.
And I'm watching everybody else do it, and I'm like, I can't believe that they're getting it. Yeah. Oh no, I know we'll get there. I've got some on the books, so it's like they'll get there.
Yeah.
But anyway, these straw panel products, essentially, think of it as a double stud wall, a panelized double stud wall where the insulation is straw. That's all it is. And so it's also a very easy replacement if it doesn't work out. So give it a go, people. Find your straw panel manufacturer nearby.
You want to talk about decking a little bit?
Oh yeah, decking.
The plastic stuff, Trex.
Yeah.
Awful stuff.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, I don't want to totally disparage the plasticky composites, because they
have a place.
I have a place,
resistant,
but they're not my preference.
They're not my preference either.
Really, it's like
people tend to. The other things, they sag over time. They don't look great.
They also get really hot.
Yeah.
If you're, for wood, just the porous nature of wood, it's like an insulator. Unlike the plastic, your foot's on it. It's like less contact with you, so it's not as hot as it's baking in the sun. So like some of these dark brown wood looking plasticky things, especially here in the New England where we think, no one worries about that. No one worries about the heat, and that type of thing. You can get really hot decks, and that's not nice. And then when they get hot, they also shrink more because they're plastic and all that jazz. Even though they say they don't, they do. So watch out for your installation instructions and all that, and because you got to follow it, because you might find yourself in a warranty issue.
Right. So here's one of the interesting things that I found out about them. I haven't. Right. So I have, and my caveat is I haven't specified this in a while.
Okay.
But they're supposed to be on joists 11 inches on center, not 16, not 12. It's because of the sag and sort of lack of
thinner one. Yeah. That's actually a good point because if you're not watching out, decks are like that. Like some of the more we'll say exotic decks, require 1 foot on center, not because they're thinner and they're like 3/4 of an inch instead of 5/4, which is 1 inch. People. Anyway, so like, what are you specifying? What are your favorite decks? What are you doing?
So we're doing we do a lot of cedar still.
Yeah.
Right. So we still get. We'll call out an STK cedar, which is a solid tight knot cedar.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have a lot of holes, so it's a little less expensive.
So are you doing white? Or you're doing Alaskan yellow?
We're doing both. We're doing mostly white now. It's become harder to find.
Yeah.
We also are doing more torrefied woods, like a thermary or a luna wood. So we're putting those on decks. It's more expensive.
It is.
And we're using those for sidings as well.
Right.
But they last forever.
Right.
They last really long time, and you don't have to treat them. You don't have to do much.
Yeah.
They weather really nicely.
I'm with you. We've been doing the same thing where we've been doing, either cedars, but we've been doing when people start pushing for tropical hardwoods, mahogany, ipe. Ipe is absolutely banned in our specs, and I'll have arguments.
There must be an FSC ipe. I know there is a FSC mahogany.
All right. I'm
saying.
stepping on a bias. Everyone picture me stepping up on the soapbox bias thing. But the Brazilian rainforest has been a political nightmare. Like that whole Brazil has been, as it pertains to the rainforest, has been a political nightmare. Ipe is a flowering tree. It's gorgeous. It's huge, and it's like a rock. Its quality. I cannot argue. It surpasses just about everything. It's IPE. But I think it's an average of 50 acres of virgin rainforest is cleared for one tree. And that is because what they do is they fly over in a helicopter, there's the tree because it's flowering. And so then they just clear a road to it, cut it down and take it. And there's gunplay involved because the politics.
What?
The politics are so high and heavy that you have a protectionist class that now has power because of the Aboriginal people and the other, and you have the others. I'm sorry. I'm all right. I said I wasn't on a tangent. Too late.
But you feel so strongly about
I feel so strongly about it that I want
nothing
to do with it. I want nothing to do with it. And I think FSC ipe is a complete fallacy. I think when you get FSC from certain parts of the world, from certain lumber places, it can't be trusted. It just can't because it can be easily forged. So also, to those people who are like, I want mahogany, I say, well, try Asia, try Philippine mahoganies or whatever. Those are kind of. I try to stay out of South America right now, and those you can have farmed and that sort of thing. But now I'm also like, hey, black locust, let's use that. We've been using that quite a bit.
Yeah, you and I talked about this.
Yeah,
it's really cool because it's a little hard to source.
It is.
If you can get it, it's a cool wood.
It is a cool wood. It's a hard wood. It's hard.
Yeah.
Builders are a little frustrated with it when they're putting it in, but just a little because they give you a lot of short lengths, give a lot of 3-footers, and like that's annoying on a deck. Come on. So
you have to pre-drill.
One should pre-drill.
Yeah.
Or it can come with the grooves and you can blind fasten and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Couple little spec things. Even if you with insulation of a wood product on your deck, you have to leave a gap. Make sure you're specifying some kind of gap because if you don't, then all the schmutz just sits right in there. All your pine needles and your leaves and your the stuff the squirrel leaves. That's just going to sit there, soak up the water, never go away, and it will rot because it's a natural wood product. But if it can drain, ta-da, it'll last.
So do you put screens on the underside of your decking? In screen porches?
In screen porches?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you?
We do.
Okay.
But then also when you leave the gap,
yes,
you get some crap.
Yeah, in there. Right.
Yeah.
So that's another. You have a solution for that?
I do not.
Okay.
Clean out the crap.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Every now and then you just blow it from underneath.
Figure out how thick you can really tolerate. Some systems, force you to, and because you have spacers. There's a way that this goes down. It's not like arbitrary. So
yeah, but you want the moisture to go down. And
yeah. Hey, another thing that I feel like maybe we've talked about. I can't remember if we have, but happy wood. Have we talked about that?
I don't remember happy wood.
Okay,
so I'm happy to hear about it.
Okay, when you're I like what you did there.
Thanks.
When you're putting down a deck, natural wood is can cup. Do you know which direction it's going to cup?
No, sir, I do not.
If you imagine the end grain, if you have vertical grain,
you can see the end, and you can kind of see it.
Yeah, if you're looking
turn up it cups like basically with the smile of the wood.
Well, actually, it cups counter to the smile. So like when you install your wood, if you have the pith of your wood, which is like the heart of the wood, that's going to be the worst. But if you have the arc, if you have a visible arc, put it in happy, so it's smiling. At you.
Got it. That's
So that because then if it cups, it's gonna cup, in the center,
I see.
not on the edges. If it cups on the edges, so then you create a nice.
So you
trough
put it in
for color.
happy,
You put it in happy,
and it becomes frowny.
don't confuse them by just put it in happy, and then you're gonna be happy. That's what I'm saying. That's just like a little trick that you learn hanging out with builders and stuff. Put your decking in happy, and then it's inevitable someone will find one that is doing the opposite. But it's like, but most of the time that is true, and it's great if you have no arc whatsoever. It's all vertical. Oh, beautiful!
I love that. I haven't heard that before.
I love it.
Thank
I
you.
love it. Okay, you're welcome.
That's why I listen to these podcasts.
I know you learn little nuggets like that.
Totally.
All right.
What else do you want to talk about for wood?
Well, we talked about torrefied stuff for. We're good. We're good with wood.
Yeah.
So and then I don't know. No, we're not.
Yeah, we got a little bit more to talk
That's
about.
a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that goes here is fiber cement, and we're just not doing that anymore. I feel like we've talked about this before too.
Right. Well, that sometimes goes in 7 for. Are you talking about siding?
Siding.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because siding's in 6. Yeah.
Siding's in 6.
Some people put it in 7 for waterproofing and whatever.
No,
but no,
we just put that
in 6.
In 6.
I know. 6 is actually where it goes.
Right, because it's either wood or
Right.
the thing that's
It's
supposed to be
carpentry.
kind of like woodish.
Right. The
And-
things your rough carpenters are doing. Is 6. Usually.
Yeah, and I have to. I confess, we did a lot of that. We did a lot of hardy board for a long time,
We did.
and a fair amount of it. I wouldn't say it's failed, but it's had problems.
Well,
Still does.
it's a painted.
shrinks.
It's a painted product. It absorbs water. It's just a little bit less than wood.
Yeah.
In terms of that feature of it. So I don't know. It was billed as in like it's cement and it's pre-finished. It's going to last forever.
Yeah.
And no,
It doesn't.
There's no
it's
such
very
thing.
finicky. You have to be very careful when you install it. You have to install gaps vertically and horizontally. So sometimes it doesn't look great, and you have to treat it. You have to start by painting all sides of it when it goes in, and even still, it wants to be repainted in a handful of years.
There's no such
It doesn't
thing as
last like 16 years, like they say.
right. No such
not
thing
finding
as
that.
maintenance free.
No.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
We had a whole podcast on siding. Go check that out.
Mhm.
We don't have to talk about too much here, but the
Thank you.
long and short of it is, we lean towards the more natural woods, and we try to stay away from the synthetic things. And the same for trims as well. AZEC in our office is a 4-letter word, and I know it's used all over the place, but it's PVC.
Well, what about
Which is-
composite stuff like the LP Smart Side?
Well, LP Smart Side, that's sort of like a high grade OSB shaped in a clapboard, or shaped in trim. So it's like it's a wood product that I've used it, and I would rather use that than fiber cement.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's affordable, and we're not seeing the same failures as we saw in fiber cement.
Yeah.
We're not seeing the same problems.
Right. I will say the end grain of that. Don't expect to weave your clapboards or have your trim have an end grain of your trim. You're mitering everything. You are butting to other trim because it's not homogeneous. You look at the end and it looks like a OSB or like a wood fiber cut. So that's something to keep in mind.
So one of the things I like that you do, Chris, is that I didn't realize you did this, but you use colors in your specifications.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
very cool.
Yeah. Well, all right. Our office, we're sort of like, when we learned it was the same price to print in color as it was to print in black and white, we're like, we're using colors then. So like in our specs, especially since everyone's usually looking at them on screen, the no's don't do this.
Right, the AZEC, you don't
The
do that,
AZECs.
and the
And the regular OSB,
Mhm.
they're reds. These are red things. And then the things where we are asking for EPDs, we're asking, to be observant of.
They are
green.
green.
Yeah, green.
Green.
You
See,
got it.
green's making a comeback, I think.
I think it is. Wouldn't that be great?
Right.
All right. We got to keep things moving. So we've been using a lot of acetylated woods, regular woods. We avoid fiber cement. We avoid PVC. And I know that's controversial for some people, but PVC is toxic to make. It is difficult to dispose of. And, you know, it's frankly just kind of a cheaper product. Not some of it looks pretty good, but some of it not so good. And the thermal expansion is significant, and that will get you, man. Not to disparage them, but
All right.
let's do, if we can knock out Division 7.
And then we're going to call it good.
And then we're going to call it good, and we'll call this part 1. Because then right after that is Division 8, which is Windows, and we're going to do a Windows podcast.
All right, and then we'll come and do finishes.
So we're gonna go over an hour. Bear with us. One more section, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
All right, number 7, thermal and moisture. It's a really good section because here's where we talk about insulation.
Right.
And then we talk about our WRBs and our tapes and
all that.
and the rain screens and things like that. Yeah.
So one thing
We love to talk about this
right.
stuff.
I know, Phil, that you've got this in your drawings, capillary breaks.
Mhm.
You've got that, like we said, at the footing, base of a foundation wall, on top of a footing, but you also have it on top of that concrete wall where the wood meets concrete, right?
That's right.
And so you get to say that in your specs, and you get to say what that is and what products you're using for that. And
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the thing that we always say. It's like conservation services, this rubberized gasket that we use.
oh, you use that one.
Yeah.
It's like the double gasket
Yeah,
with a
yeah.
thing on top.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, use. Yeah,
We've used that too.
yeah.
Yeah, if we were better, we'd have that right off the top of our heads. Ben Bogey's going to call us up and he's going to be like,
I'm
you
gonna buy a
guys.
product.
Yeah,
You still
it's gonna
using that?
You still using that? Using the Protecto Wrap 3 Try whatever thing, which we've used before.
Yeah.
But whatever you use, and I'm not going to do my, we've talked about capillary breaks
Mhm.
before, but you get to put that in here, and what you're doing is separating the concrete from the wood at all costs. It's an important thing to do, and you get to make sure it's in your specs.
Yeah, then we have exterior insulation.
Yep.
Right.
And-
So you got your EPS, you got your polyiso,
right.
you
So-
got your wood fiber board.
So don't leave this up to the builder. No offense to builders, but they're going to go. You don't know what builder you have. Maybe you do, but you get to choose. For your you can do a more a less toxic, less embodied carbon material. So you can use natural fibers for your. You can use wood fiber board insulation for an outsulation wrap. You can use it as a bat. We use cellulose all the time. We try to basically in this office avoid foams for our insulation, but we know that when we get to subgrade, it's really hard to avoid.
Yeah.
We've been using a lot of Glavel, which is the foam glass aggregate here in the Northeast. It's readily available, which is great. It comes from a plant that is solar powered, and it's made from recycled glass.
That's right.
Yeah, so
That's right.
So it's just a wonderful
I
product.
saw the owners talk. You were there too.
Oh yeah,
That's
Rob
conference.
Conboy.
Yeah.
Really, really great product. So
Yeah.
I'd support that all
That's
the
right.
time because it's two things in one. It is your sub slab aggregate and insulation,
Mhm.
and you're not using plastics.
I will also say that like we used to say XPS, stop using it.
Yeah,
But if you saw our little walk of shame,
yeah,
it's now known that the global warming potential and the blowing agents of XPS have all changed dramatically, and they're not nearly as damaging as they used to be.
right. But I would encourage everyone to go to Beam, or Builders for Climate Action.
Right. You can still compare that to a wood fiber board and see which one has less embodied carbon.
Yeah, and you
the
can
wood fiber boards are still crushing it.
and you can compare the different XPSs because now
Oh, can you?
yeah. So now Owens Corning Formular now with reduced GWP
Yeah.
is still pretty high, but it's not like super high like it
Yeah.
used to be. But compared to the Suprema, it's still like twice as much as
Mhm.
that is. So at least I hope my numbers are right. I will get corrected.
Well, one of the things I do want to say that we do in our specifications, and we put the R values right in the specs for
Yeah.
each thing we say,
Yeah.
and then we'll total up those and say this is our assembly X number of.
Which is important to do
Yeah.
because you're telling the builder your intent.
Yeah.
And so that when they start thinking like, oh, I can't get, you just asked for recycled polyiso, board insulation. I can't get that. What am I using instead? They can actually say, I love, rock wool in this application. Is that acceptable? And we'll say, sure, if it is. So
Right. But you look at something like a polyiso, which is like an R 6.6 per inch aged,
right,
for instance. And you look at a wood fiber board, which is like half of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can't use 1 inch. 1 inch doesn't equal 1 inch in that case.
Yeah. And another thing we've learned about polyiso, you can put it underground.
Fascinating, right?
It is fascinating. There's still like this instinct in me, like, no, that doesn't go underground.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
But it can. So,
but in Bogey we trust.
You're right.
That Bogey.
And so this is also your moment to talk about spray foam and your, like if you want to use spray foam for those hard to reach little places, which sometimes we're stuck doing, especially with certain renovations or whatever, then you want to make sure you're using an HFO, not an HFC, spray foam. And you can actually put, like I want the Huntsman product,
Right. Heat lock, I think it's what it's called.
Yeah. They were one of the first to do that.
Yeah.
I used to be, you put that in, you want to make sure you have the exact one, not just spray foam, whatever. It's important.
Right. That's another one to double check when you're on site. Make sure this is the thing that you talked about.
Right. So in the spec, the section, you're also going to do your weather barriers. And the only thing I want to mention about that is like your weather barriers on your Huber products, they're integral, and you're using their system. If you're using like a Siga product, which a lot of our products also have, so like you're using plywood, and you're putting a
that's right. You apply them on top of it. Yes.
Real quick story. Talking with somebody else who had used what is the blue?
Maja?
No. I'm thinking of the
Henry Blueskin.
Henry Blueskin. Thank you. They've used the Henry Blueskin. They just got a truck full of that, loaded it up, and like had to roll down the windows. They just like couldn't be in the same truck just because of the adhesive.
It's so toxic.
So heavy. And then he also later on in his career got to pick up a whole roll of the Siga stuff in the exact same scenario. I was like, oh, look at this. No big deal.
Oh, how about that? Didn't stink.
Didn't stink. This is usually going on the outside of your building, so it's less. I don't get as bunched up about it, but still, someone's putting those toxic things together in the factory, and do we care about them? I do. We try to. So
we were in that factory.
We were in the Siga factory. Yeah,
it smelled great.
Yeah, that's true. It was actually a delightful factory. Yeah, a little loud, but really great.
They were also very clean people.
They were.
I would imagine.
That was really great. So definitely specify what you want here.
Want to talk about rain screens real quick?
Well, we should.
What did we forget?
Tapes, but the thing I will say about tapes, in our spec, we actually went to the trouble of making a chart because we found when we start doing like these Siga tapes, different tapes have different functions. You want the resin tape for the sill and the wide glove on the outside and all this. Which tape goes where? How much of which am I buying? If I switch to Proclima, what am I doing? If I switch to the 3M, what am I doing? And so we just made a chart of like the different uses. And this is the Siga product, and this is the Proclima product, and other things see us. Like you.
That's great. I was on a job site just last week.
Yeah.
And when they switched the tape on us.
Yeah.
And I could use that chart to see
this
if
is
it
the
was
thing.
okay.
Yeah.
I said, we got to go back and check. Hang on. And it was fine, but I didn't have your chart.
But it's great. Really it's great that they asked because this is the other thing.
No, they didn't ask.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Well, that's one of the
things. They asked for forgiveness is what they did.
Well, you're putting this in there because how often does that happen where they're like tape? Oh, the air sealing tape. Oh, here's an air sealing tape. 3M's got it. And you put it in. That's not what we wanted. And that's not what we thought we were getting. And that's not what you're contractually obligated to put in. But, so if you put it in the spec and you make a big deal of it, then they know you're expecting it. So anyway, you wanted to say rain screen.
Well, the only thing is, make sure your rain screens get in here. Like there's a lot of people using Hydro Gap these days, which is that roll up thing with little bumps on it.
Yeah.
Technically it's fine.
Yeah.
But, I don't think it's great.
Neither do I.
It's not my favorite. We'll use like the Home Slicker by Benjamin Obdike or Mort Air Vent is a local one to Maine. It's actually made in Sanford, so we'll specify that.
Yeah.
as a product. Cedar Breather is another one.
And for
That is the
like
other-
shingles, that's what you're using it under.
Yeah, well, Cedar Breather,
Yeah.
we'll use it under shingles, yes.
Yeah. Do you use it
That's
under? Some people try to use that for vertical siding as well. I'm not in that camp. I don't.
Yes. Yeah,
But you
will
do?
do that too.
You will.
Yes. Why don't you?
Well,
Do you find it gets wavy?
No. I find just that gap of air just seems so small for the span that you're doing. With shingles, you kind of don't have a choice. But with like
Why is it different? Because you have air through the shingles gaps?
well, it's not that much different than the shingles. Yeah. It's just like shingles, that's about as good as you can get.
Yeah.
But I think you can get better with a vertical.
All right. I think you might be worrying too much about it.
I might be.
I think you just need a raindrop to come down.
There's also this horizontal. Steve Bazek was posting about a house he's building where he's using like
Like a core event?
well, no, it's like a picture corrugated metal in strips. So then you just those are horizontal, but they're just tons of air that can get through them. You can use that if you don't want to do the crisscross
Yeah, interesting.
of strapping for the vertical
but
side.
we'll use core events sometimes because that does a similar thing.
Yeah, similar thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like strapping with holes in it, so
Yeah.
water gets through. So
Okay.
specs is where it goes.
All right.
Get it in there.
Well, Phil, I think that's going to take us to Division 8. And so Division 8 is windows and doors. And so we're going to talk about doors real quick. And then our next podcast is windows. So we're going to close the books on this one and say, this was Greening Your Specs Part 1. We're going to do windows. And then we're going to do Greening Your Specs Part 2. And it's going to be great. So doors, real quickly, the only thing we really worry about is like that same formaldehyde issue for interior doors. That, and we struggle, just like the rest of you, for an exterior door.
Still. Come on. Somebody make an amazing exterior door.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like these fancy door companies, these European style door companies, they're gonna come to us and say, I've got your door. And I'm like, yeah, it's $6,000. And then somebody's gonna be like, here's a Therma-Tru for like, $1,500.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can we, we've done houses using that $6,000 door.
Right. I got a beautiful Macro-Win door.
Oh my God, those are
just
great.
like
They're
that.
great. We've got a lot of those things too. But it's just finding that budget options.
That's right.
Okay, and then
What else you want to say?
hardware. We've got a lot of Asa Abloy in our specs, and that's because they're red list compliant from the Living Building Challenge stuff. It's like they have
Noted.
They have the red
That's
list
good.
label. So like, and if you're not familiar, like a lot of products, you know how the food package has your list of ingredients on it? Like
I do.
yeah. Building products should have the exact same
Yes,
thing.
they should, shouldn't
Nothing
they?
hidden. It's all in
That's
there.
right. People wouldn't know what to look for.
Yeah, exactly. And so basically, your red list, materials have the EPDs that are like the food label. So you know what's in it. So chromium 6 is a really bad chemical. It's in anything chrome, or chromium 3, but you know what I'm saying. So like door hardware, a lot of times.
So is that on your specs in red?
In red, yeah.
Red letters?
Yeah.
Oh, chromium 6.
Yeah, it's in the, one of the, in the general conditions, it's in there.
Outstanding.
But when we're specifying our hardware, we're specifying like Asa Abloy and other things like that. Okay.
All right. I think we did it. We got through.
Okay, that was good. That's Greening Your Specs Part 1.
Thanks for sticking with us.
My
folks.
drink's empty.
Mine is too.
Okay, so if you like us, remember we're the Green Architects Lounge. Follow, like, subscribe. It really helps our numbers and makes our advertisers and sponsors happy. If you didn't like us, this has been the Handsome Pod with Tignatar and Fortune and May Martin. They're actually podcasts that I or my wife listen to, and they're really great. And shout out to them.
Thank you all.
See you all. Bye.